I want to teach you about one of the most robust corporate structures out there. Let's say you are a very successful businessman, legitimate or otherwise. Let's not ask too many questions just yet. You will have your company here, making lots of profits and generally doing what most regular companies do by providing a marketable good or service. The most basic way for you to own this company is just to be the direct shareholder of the operation. But if the company is big enough, you really don't want to do that for two reasons. The first is that if the company gets sued or goes bankrupt, you lose everything. Yes, it's a separate legal entity, so you won't personally be liable for any of the company's debts, but you still lose your business and your income stream. Instead, what you do is this. Put your profitable company down here, and create a holding company to own all of these shares in that business. You can also put especially valuable business assets like a warehouse or a storefront in this holding company. Now, when your business pays a dividend, it does not go to you directly, it goes to this holding company. If the operation business back down here gets sued, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't own anything that valuable. It can just declare bankruptcy and a new business can be made under the holding company who owns the warehouse and everything else of value. Now, if you are asking what happens if the holding company gets sued, you are starting to think like a real businessman. The thing is, this holding company is far less likely to be sued than an actual operating business, because it basically doesn't do anything other than own things. It doesn't enter into contracts, it doesn't employ people, it doesn't create products, it doesn't take on debt, it basically doesn't do anything that could put it in a position where it could be sued. So this is great, but we are not done yet. You want this holding company to in turn be held by a trust. That means that when the holding company passes money up, it doesn't go directly to you. It goes to this trust, which will then in turn pass money on to you. Now, if you remember, the trust fund needs a trustee, as in the person that decides when and what the trust fund pays to you, the beneficiary. For this, you need to set up yet another company. This company will do nothing apart from decide when money is paid out of the trust fund. It doesn't even have the authority to decide who it pays out to, because that is all predetermined in the rules of the trust itself. Now, this is starting to look crazy, but what does all of this actually do? This makes you financially invincible. If your actual operating business gets sued and goes bankrupt, oh well, it owns nothing, so you can just start another one a week later. If you get sued and need to declare bankruptcy, that also doesn't really matter. Why? Well, because on paper, you don't own any assets of value. Sure, you keep getting money from the trust fund here, but you can't own a trust fund. It's just a pass-through entity. The only shares that you actually personally own are the ones in the trustee company, but they are worthless. All they do is determine when a trust disbursement is paid. And oh, by the way, even if those shares are taken off you, it doesn't matter anyway, because a trust is required by law to pay out any cash it has on hand at least once a financial year to stop a situation where a rogue trustee can hold a beneficiary's money hostage. All of the things of real value are held in this holding company here in the middle of this corporate structure, which means that these assets are protected from both sides by what effectively amounts to limited liability corporate meat shields. It doesn't matter if anything that has any chance of going bankrupt actually does, because the assets will be safe and sound here in the middle.